was shooting coke and pretty much everything.
Just put whatever was put in front of you.
Yeah.
Now, what grabbed my attention from you is the before and after that I will be showing on the screen right now
Yeah.
because it is pretty dramatic. Like
Yeah.
you look amazing now. I don't know if anyone's told you that. So that before I had read something that you were arrested with like $82,000 worth of drugs.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah,
they say. That's what they say. Yeah.
that's what they say. I mean, the numbers, the numbers, 295 grams of dope, and I think it was 265 of crack and 60 grams of coke.
Yeah.
That adds up.
Yeah, it does.
That adds up. So, what were you doing to accumulate that kind of weight?
So it's like where I live is a smaller area, and people have been coming here from like New York City, like Jersey City, all of those places for as long as like I can remember, um, to sell drugs. So I just always got involved with those people, and then it became easier for me to have whatever I needed to get high and to sell whatever I needed to stay high.
So, okay, we'll backtrack then. When did you start like discovering drugs or alcohol?
Um, in high school, I'd say like my sophomore year, like when I was 15, um, I was like drinking every weekend and smoking weed, and then like we would be popping ecstasy a lot of the time on the weekends. And then the night I graduated high school is the first night I graduated at 17. So at 17, that was the first night I did like cocaine.
Okay.
And then like from there, like I would smoke crack sometimes, and then opioids really became a problem probably a couple of years after that.
So, coke I can see being thrown around in graduation parties and stuff like that. But how does crack get introduced? Because that's not like usually a party drug.
I think I always hung out with like a lot of older people, like my cousins and their older friends, and they would have it around like when we were partying and stuff. So like that's kind of how that happened, and it wasn't an everyday thing then, and that didn't even happen until probably after like I was addicted to heroin.
Oh, okay. So you discovered heroin before you got really into crack.
Yeah.
How did you discover was it just people you were hanging out with again and they did it and you were just like, that looks interesting?
So where I live on the Canadian border, there's um the Oxy 80s, like the CDMs were really big. Like the green ones, remember? And you have to take the coating off. So those were like really big then. Like everybody was doing them here.
Oh, so how old are you then? Because you don't look like you're in your 30s, but that you would have to have been.
I just turned 30 September 4th.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, because like, for those who don't know, like the green coating, like that coating on the 80s, that went away in like 2009.
Yeah.
So, which means you were like 19, which makes sense.
Yeah.
18, 19 when they went away, and then you probably were like, well, I guess I'm just gonna go straight to dope now.
Yeah. So those people who were coming up from the cities, like always bringing like they were bringing just coke for like years. Like that's what people were doing. Were partying, doing like coke. So when the CDMs went away is when they started bringing up heroin, kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense because
Yeah.
a lot of people either went to 30s or they went to dope,
Yeah.
depending on like what their standards or not standard but rules were. Because a lot of us addicts, you had rules for yourself,
Yeah.
and then other addicts were, you know, what I've been told is garbage addicts were like put it in front of me and I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I think I've heard that term from like four different people I've interviewed. Oh, I was a garbage junkie. Put it in front of me and I would do it. So, when did it take long for you to know that you were like an addict, like you were addicted?
I think it did. So in the beginning, even I didn't use like oxys every day. I was using them with my son's father. And then my like addiction didn't escalate really until after I had him. I was like 21. I had him when I was 21, and Eddie, my son's father, was in and out of jail, and I was working three jobs. And that's like when it escalated for me. Like that September, I want to say I started shooting up. Um,
So you were like pretty good for 9 months then.
yeah.
You were like safe, like you were like being like safe, like you wanted to make sure you were like, and you were working hard, having 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Drug addicts don't work 3 jobs usually.
Yeah.
That's just somebody who's trying to provide for their kid. But I could see if the ex was in and out of jail,